welcome everyone to the one and the only Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta here tonight for the first race of the next week that we have upcoming. And it's tonight, the Heusinkveld Advanced Mazda MX-5 Cup Series. We are back once again for what was sure to be a fantastic race here for tonight. Greatly looking forward to what we have in store for the short layout. And this is going to be one heck of an event. Everything's been, in fact, we actually might be going a little bit earlier than expected. So we'll go ahead and bring it to, well, I would say trackside, but we'll stick here and give you the starting grid. At least once we are able to get that pulled up for you. There we go. So go ahead and throw up the starting grid for you on your screen. Qualifying ending early here in about 1 minute's time. And at the moment, it is Nicholas Shepard and Michael Folds both up on the front row. Starting third place is going to be Ishmael Ablal. Fourth place is Tom Sanders. Fifth place is Matthew Bartlett. First time I believe that we've seen him for this week, at least in terms of the top split broadcasts. Javier Mendez starts off in the sixth place position. And then the next row holds Charles Wolf in seventh. Eighth place, John Miller the third. Ninth place, Michael Coates. 10th place is Mario Alfredo, I believe his second appearance in the top split. Ian Bertolucci starts off in 11th. 12th place is Frankie Sugamelli. 13th place holds the number 6 this week, at least, of Gregorio Moreno Jr. Matt Burgess starts 14th. 15th place is Tak Sato. 16th place is Matt Mullins. Jack Landis starts off in 17th. 18th place is Tony Wallace. And then we get to the last of the qualifiers, where we have Daniel DeLiberti starting in 19th. 20th is Gareth Brocklesby. And Kevin Kramer starts off in 21st. 22nd is Pete Loops. First time we're seeing some of these names for this week. The drivers lining up on the front row here, at least on the main grid. So we'll go ahead and bring you the action here as these drivers start to line up on the main straightaway. Drivers lining up now on the main grid. We'll go ahead and get the sound sorted out here momentarily. Regardless, these drivers ready to go. Just a few more drivers lined up here. We have a 22-car field here for this week. And all eyes are going to be on the flag stand just off to the right-hand side here for these drivers this week. It looks like we are about to get going here quite shortly. Just waiting for, I believe, a couple more drivers to grid. Michael Folds, one of them, in the third place row. Matt Burgess has just gridded. Gareth Brocklesby in the background has gridded. Michael Folds has about 25 seconds. There he is. He's lined up. All eyes on the flag stand just on the right-hand side. The revs rise. And we are green flag racing here at Road Atlanta. Looks to be smooth sailing on the part of everybody. A few drivers in the back swapping positions, but everyone does seem to make it clean through the first couple corners. Position swapping all over the track. And here, oh man, that's Gregorio Moreno Jr. just cutting in the front of Matt Burgess there. They come through the short layout here, and this is going to bypass a good majority of the track. So not taking the full layout, that is the short section. So they'll have a much quicker run down to the chicane here. Hard on the brakes is Moreno in that number 6 car. And Ian Bertolucci will get ahead in time. Looks to be a clean start though for everybody. Nobody has spun. Everybody has stuck with each other throughout the entire starting lap. I'm taking a look at this battle for 11th place. As Bertolucci goes defensive, trying to hold off Moreno. Moreno looks to the outside, but nothing doing as of yet. I thought he was about to slide wide there, but he does hold on to it. Michael Coates just up ahead did slide wide a little bit. Tony Wallace in the background, definitely wide. He's losing a couple spots, but he does stay facing forward, which is what matters the most. Out front, it is Nicholas Shepard. Michael Fold sitting second, Ishmael Abloh sitting in 3rd place, so top 5 as you were. Then we get to the 7th place spot of Charles Wolf. Everyone is hanging on to everything so far, and Javier Mendez stays in line. Javier Mendez, I believe, is actually the pronunciation for the number 7 car. Looks to be the only major gap is the 21 of Jack Landis. So let's see if we can get a replay to see what happened here. The 21, oh, just got on the curb and into the wall. I did see there was front end damage. Let's see if we can get a look from another angle. I did see there was damage on the nose of the number 20. I figured it was just from like a bump draft that was a bit too aggressive, but no, Jack Landis now just turns in too early. You can see from that angle. And noses quite heavily, all things considered, into the wall, but he is still continuing on. Meanwhile, up out front, actually a battle for the lead, potentially. Does Foltz go for the move? No, he stays in line. Again, top 5 still as you were. Hold on, Moreno and Bertolucci swapping positions here, just off screen into the chicane. And a little bit wide goes number 6. This is going to be one heck of a battle here for the 11th place spot, as the 6 of Moreno, as he'll be trying to defend as much as he can, but the entire top 10 has already broken away between these drivers. Now we got already 26 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. I think Bertolucci's going to try and push Moreno here. We'll see how things fare as they cut through the S's. Man, both, I guess Moreno and Bertolucci both have the same creator of their respective liveries, because I think they have the exact same reflective material here on both of their cars. Matt Burgess is the more shiny of these two, a little bit more reflective, but definitely stands out. Again, factory new as always for Matt Burgess by the looks of it. No change up in the top 5 as of yet. No change necessarily in the bottom 5 either. At least from the start, there are a few different positions. At least the only thing I can see right now, the only change in the top 10 is Charles Wolf and Javier Mendez, as both of them started, 7th and 6th, respectively. So they have swapped one position. As going wide is Bertolucci. Around the outside comes Matt Burgess. And scythes his way up through, but overshoots actually. Just holds on to it, cuts through the grass. No contact is made. A little bit of a wild moment though for Burgess. Nails the curb there just a little bit. At the end of the day, he does continue on. Go ahead and get a replay of that going into the S's. It's a good line through turn 1. And then it's right here in the braking where he's put offline a little bit. I think he just carried too much speed. Yeah, you could see just a little bit too much. And he's actually sideways there. And he still manages to hold on to it. Back to live pictures. Moreno chasing down Bertolucci. Could Moreno make a move? Does he want to make a move was the question. The difference between 11th am 10th in terms of lap times. It's about 2 seconds. So these guys are going to be battling for basically the second half of the field. The field's split into 2 parts as we come back to Michael Coates, who is doing okay. Saw his suspension crushed down there for a little bit. So I thought he was a little bit more wider than anticipated. Speaking of being wider than anticipated, that is Michael Folds, who is taking a line a little bit wider than expected, more than anything, going through the, I guess, a short chute in this case, but he'll stay right on the back bumper. Now, one driver also joining in on this little bit of a conga line is Tom Sanders in the number 4 machine. So we'll see how things fare. But the top 4 starting to break away a little bit. We got the top 5 being led by Matthew Bartlett. First time, if I remember correctly, they were seeing the, in this case, number 9 machine in the top split. A little bit wide was Javier Mendez. We've seen Javier Mendez a couple times as well throughout the season as they launch themselves over the curbs. And the change in elevation is absolutely wild here. Something that only a photo can do justice. In fact, we'll go ahead and try to ride on board here a little bit with a couple drivers. And so they'll make their way through the S's here in just a few moments. Let's check back in, though, in the 11th place battle. It's spread out a little bit for the moment. Ian Bertolucci has created the gap between himself and Moreno. Matt Mullins and Daniel De Liberty side by side there in the background. That's Mullins getting by De Liberty. And now that we have time, let's go ahead and ride on board a little bit earlier than we anticipated, but let's ride on board for a lap around the Road Atlanta short configuration. You can see the counter steering that Tom Sanders is doing here. And then here comes the drop in elevation into the S's. Just absolutely massive. Then they go back uphill, and you have to flick the wheel to the right. You can just hear how much we're on the throttle throughout this section as well. And the section cuts out the long back straightaway, so not as much of a drafting opportunity as it would be with a full layout. It's hard on the brakes goes Sanders. You see the speed drop down to about 65 miles an hour. Effectively the slowest portion of the of this layout. And then they'll do it all over again. And in fact, Michael Folds up to first place. But maybe not for long. Here comes, oh, maybe not. I thought Nicholas Shepard was going to make a move there, make a little bit of a battle out front, but he decides against it by the looks of it. And while we do have a chance, let's take a look. Oh, maybe not. Gregorio Moreno Jr. has lost a couple positions. I thought he slowed down. I thought he spun out, correction, but he may have just gone wide off in turn number 1. Let's take a look here. Coming out of the final corner for Moreno, he had Sugamelli and Burgess behind him initially. So was it the entry to turn number 1? Nope, just a slightly wider exit than anticipated, and that just grabbed the left side tires. You saw the brake lights illuminate there. He's harder on the brakes. Careful on the brakes, necessarily. Just to keep everything under control. And while Folds leads with 20 minutes to go, let's go ahead and get a look at the schedule coming into this week, since we didn't really exactly get a chance to do so. But coming into this week, we had a three wins in a row for Nicholas Shepard. We have the previous races that we've had so far this season. The only one we weren't able to catch was Lime Rock, but otherwise we've been here throughout most of the season. And we're wondering if Shepard could go for a 4th win in a row and a 5th on the season, or someone, somehow, some way, could dethrone that. Because we've only had just a couple different winners, or a few different winners, throughout this season. Shepard back up front. quite an easy and calm pass, all things considered. Sigamelli and Bertolucci side by side in the chicane. Preferred lane goes to Bertolucci. And that's going to put Bertolucci under fire from Matt Burgess. He'll make his way up to the 12th place spot. Michael Coates off in pit road. He doesn't have a black flag. Not sure as to why Coates is in pit road after 10 minutes of running. But Coates in the pit box. Does he pull it into the virtual garage? I'll keep an eye on that, but at the moment is that's a no. Not seeing any times go up, though, for him being in pit lane, for him being in his pit box. And Coates is back out and going very tentatively. Not sure as to what's happening. Could be, my guess would be maybe some sort of hardware failure. He's stuck at 17 miles an hour. Now he's picking up speed just a little bit. Yeah, here's Michael Coates leaving pit road. Not sure as to what's happened with the 18 machine. There's a hardware failure of some sort. Charles Wolf has spun. We'll get to that here in a moment. I have to take a look and see what exactly is going on with Michael Coates. He was very hesitant, effectively, to start heading out. I'm not sure as to what's happening. He's going to go off into the main layout, but regardless, Charles Wolf has lost a few positions. So go ahead and run this back and see what exactly had happened here. Just call it the very tail end. But this is what happened. Charles just holds onto it. No contact with the wall. Although he nearly did. Does a little bit of a donut around the cone. And, oh, there goes the 6 of Moreno. Oh, man, the 12 nearly makes contact as well. But just too much speed by the looks of it. But the 6 coming to a blind corner effectively. We'll go ahead and go back live as Michael Coates goes wide into the grass. He just holds on to it, though. Slides a little bit. A little bit too wide of a corner exit for him. All things considered, he is still facing forward, so that is the most important thing by the end of the day. Coates still pedaling around at about 25 miles an hour. So my only assumption here is that he's got some sort of a hardware issue. You can see him off in the distance there. He's pulled off into the... not sure what exactly is happening with Michael Coates, but regardless, the field is about to catch up to him, and he'll go back to pit road. As we cut to this battle here with the 7th place spot. Javier Mendez in the 7 and Mario Alfredo off in the 14 machine with, in this case, the defensive line and the preferred line he'll have going into turn number 1. And Mendez is going to try to attack around the outside. Not successful as of corner entry. Corner exit. Could he bring a little bit more momentum? Not necessarily. He'll back off early. A slow jump down into the Esses. Well, Shepard continues to lead. Once again, a familiar phrase. The top 5 is as they had started. Matthew Bartlett has joined in on this group as well. So, top 5, all in a world of their own. As John Miller III leads and tries to defend against Mario Alfredo. Around the outside, tries to go Alfredo. Decides against it, breaks a little bit early. I thought he was going to try for a switchback, but he will try for at least a move. He'll show the nose, and he will go for the move here. Into the final corner they go. Halfway for these drivers this time by as Alfredo takes most of the curb. And if that was for that position at the line, he would have gotten it. But we still have about half distance left as Alfredo parks it perfectly on the apex. Here comes John Miller. Trying to defend was Alfredo, but he was already there, was John Miller. And it's going to be side by side into the Esses. They do make contact. Both of them go wide. This brings Mendez into the battle. And just like that, Mendez has snuck his way up to the 7th place spot, nearly retains his position from where he started. Mendez started in 6th, currently sits 7th, and John Miller, 3rd, started 8th, but so the biggest gain out of all these drivers would be, I believe, at least in this little group, it would be Mario Alfredo. He started in 10th. This pass happens just up ahead. Oh, man. Miller tries to close the gap for Alfredo. Makes contact with the right rear fender of Mendez. And that's going to send Miller all the way back. He's caught off guard. A change for the lead. Folds back up front. And Alfredo, it's going to be Mendez, Alfredo, and Miller for 7th, 8th, and 9th. Actually, sorry, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Gregorio Moreno Jr. and Matt Burgess battling side by side. Burgess just gets up ahead of Moreno. Goes on the defensive. And Moreno is now in 12th. Burgess up to 11th. Tony Wallace, Daniel Diliberti battling as well. Diliberti's off the track. Just holds on to it. And it may have been a fair game battle there, as we saw coming into the first corner. Diliberti holds his line. Wallace goes to the inside on the brakes, and I think just a racing deal, honestly. It happens. Just a little bit wider of a line than anticipated for Tony Wallace, it seems. So it's about a 10-second gap between 5th and 6th. Now we still have this battle going on for 11th, but that battle for 11th has turned into a battle for 10th. As Frankie Sugamelli is 10th, Matt Burgess Moreno side by side once again. Could it be 3 wide from Taksato? He thought about it. I think he showed the nose at least, but not able to really capitalize on the move yet. Going slightly wide is Moreno, and slightly wide now in as an effect is Taksato, but look at the car precision that both of these drivers have for each of their respective apexes. Both drivers managing to hold on to it, still facing forward, still living to battle another day, and that other day is coming right now into the chicane. It's going to be Taksato on the offensive here, sends it into the braking zone, just gets ahead, actually parks it on the apex, and I would say that's a clean pass. Here comes Matt Mullis. Moreno's off guard. He's going to have Charles Wolf on the inside. Mullins up to 12th place. Taksato, it's right exactly where he started with that battle. And what a pass from Sato. I'd say that's pretty fair game. Hard on the brakes with Sato as we look at this replay here. Hard on the brakes he goes. He makes the apex. He stays on. I'd say that's fair game. Moreno just wasn't expecting him to be right there. Ooh, Charles just barely tags Moreno there. But wow, what a pass from Sato. Now Charles Wolf from the 17 qualified 7th. Had a spin about the 10-minute mark of this race. And he's going to make his way up through the field. Does he do the same thing that Sato did? No, but both drivers hard on the brakes. I know Sato cut the first chicane. Doesn't seem like it. He's not slowing down, so looks to be everything is fine. No, contact. No, it's no longer fine as both drivers make contact. Both of them fall down the order to at least 15th right now. Oh, another driver. That's collateral. That's Gareth Brocklesby. Minding his own business. As Pete Loops, I think, is also caught up in this. No, he does make it through. But both drivers are out. Charles Wolf is still going, but Brocklesby, collateral. There's Taksato. No, that's Tony Wallace who was caught up in this. Tony Wallace also caught up in this with nowhere to go so late on. Also minding his own business. Let's see what happened here. Oh, just nowhere to go since I think that's Brocklesby. No, that was Sato, who was on the racing line. Let's go ahead and take one more look at this back one more time. A little bit too far back, but we'll stick with this for the time being. I'll update you if any positions do change in the current time. We still have 8 minutes, 45 seconds left. No positions changed as of yet. Let's take a look at this replay right now. Tak Sato defending against Charles Wolf. A little bit of contact there. No harm, no foul, I would say. So Sato does go through cleanly. And Charles is going to move to the right-hand side and just contact there. You have to look at this from another... See if we can try and get this from a separate angle here. I think all the angles that we have are similar. We got the chopper camera and just... I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, it is a racing deal, but... Not sure why Sato would be defending that aggressively. Then he drives right back onto the racing line. There's Gareth Brocklesby with absolutely nowhere to go. And then Sato drives back onto the racetrack again on the racing line, trying to get up to speed. There's Tony Wallace with nowhere to go. Not expecting a car to sit on the racing line there. And then it's just day done. Well, again, this is an official session. It's not a league necessarily, so... my opinion is just my personal opinion, but I would say at the end of the day, that should have been just one of those live to fight another day kind of things there. In my opinion, I think Sato should have been more on the racing line rather than in the middle of the track, as obviously Charles Wolf was not expecting something to that extent. Definitely not expecting Sato to move down, or at least not be as... taking more of a narrow line than expected. Again, these are official sessions, not league sessions, so not necessarily any penalties could be handed out. Protests, sure, but not exactly for what could effectively be racing deals. As we got a battle for 10th place going on, Matt Burgess has fallen back a couple positions. Mullins up to 3rd. Sorry, Mullins up to 11th. I don't know where I got 3rd from. I think I'm getting that Burgess is 3rd in line here. Oh, he's not about to be. He just absolutely nailed the curb. He does hold on to it, though. Fantastic car control. Saw that from the way the car's body had rolled just a little bit on the curb. And the suspension had kind of risen up there. He nailed the curb. Enough to fully upset the car, but not enough to fully launch him off the track. And speaking of taking the curbs, Moreno we see there absolutely sending the car over the curbs here. I will say, if anything, for Sato, it was better to not be on the racing line, at least when coming back on in front of Tony Wallace at that low of a speed. But if there are any protests, then we know nothing about it. That's up to iRacing rather than league communication. We see the battle here for 1st and then 3rd. As the top 5 has split into 2 groups. Michael Folds and Nicholas Shepard, 1st and 2nd. And then 3rd, 4th, 5th is Ishmael LeBlanc, Tom Sanders, Matthew Bartlett. Again, I believe the first time we've seen Bartlett here in the top split specifically, if not the 2nd time. And he is in line for what potentially could be a podium finish here. If things continue well in the next 5 minutes for Bartlett, considering he's up to 4th now as they make their way into the chicane. LeBlanc is going to try and defend that position as much as he can, but it would be, Sanders is going to try and get that 4th place back, but a little bit on the back foot for the time being. Matt Mullins and Frankie Sugamelli battling side by side. Does Sugamelli try to... Nope, he backs off. Decides against trying to launch onto the brakes for Matt Mullen. Meanwhile, on the other side of the racetrack, Tom Sanders has gotten back in front of Matthew Bartlett, and just like that, Ubal is a little bit all on his own right now. Now we got 4 minutes left. The only DNF that we have had so far is Michael Coates, as officially a result of a disqualification. Unofficially, from a personal standpoint, I think it's just hardware issues, but I'm not exactly sure what happened to Coates, unfortunately. And then what could soon to turn into be technical DNFs are Todd Sato, Tony Wallace, and Gareth Brocklesby, all currently sitting in their pit boxes, repairing their damage. All have towed back to their pit boxes as well, so they are effectively out, all things considered. But in the meantime, with 3 minutes, 20 seconds left, an estimated, looks to be about 3 laps remaining at the moment. And for this, it is going to be whenever the timer hits 0, pretty much whatever the lap that the leaders are on, it will be the final lap regardless. So it's not time plus 1 lap. Once that timer hits 0, well, better hope for the best. These drivers will know, and we will also know, and we'll inform you when that final lap could come, and that could be in about 2 laps time here. As these drivers are running about 1 minute 6 seconds per lap, their best lap times, by the way. Average of 104 point, I see 104.8, I see a 104.4, 104.6, 0.6, 0.8. So a little bit of a spread in the mid 104s, that being the fastest lap of these drivers. The current laps that they're running, 105.9 in terms of Nicholas Shepard, 105.8 for Michael Folds. This time by, it's effectively 2 laps to go once these drivers had crossed the start-finish line. So we'll see how things fare. Drivers off in the back have swapped positions. That's Jack Landas and Daniel Diliberti, 17th and 18th on the track. Frankie Sugamelli looking to break into the top 10, and that number 19, he'll just stay behind the number 12 of Matt Mullins. Burgess and Moreno battling it out. Could hear the rev limiter as these drivers launch themselves over the curb, or effectively max out the gear that they're in. Here comes Moreno, looking around the outside, just showing the nose on the left-hand side. Could Moreno potentially go for a move is the question. Technically, it is possible to make a move from this far back, but you have to trust the car and the brakes just enough, but he's a bit too far back. This time by, for sure, is officially 2 laps to go. 1 lap extra, as Matthew Bartlett and Tom Sanders will be battling side by side. Sanders retains the 4th place spot. Got a few battles all on their own here. So see how things fare. I think Mendez was practically drifting on the overhead there, trying to keep that car under control. But this time by, it will be the final lap at the start-finish line. With 45 seconds left on the clock, Nicholas Shepard looking to go 4 in a row, 5 on the season. Folds hasn't won since the first race of the season at Lime Rock Park, at least in the top split, for specifically this time slot. Could he change that today, or is Shepard about to dominate once again? Final lap this time by for Nicholas Shepard. Michael Folds chasing him down, trying to get a second win on the season. In about 1 minute's time, we're going to have a winner, that's for sure. It would not be the first time if if these front two do wreck. It wouldn't be the first time that would have occurred, as Ishmael Ablal was well over the curbs in the background, but he does hold on to it. Folds has relatively caught up to Nicholas Shepard. This is going to be a prime passing opportunity for the number 1 machine. Folds looking to get a second win on the season. He had the podium spot last week. Shepard goes defensive. They nearly touch down the straightaway. Hard on the brakes will be both these drivers. Shepard more harder on the brakes than Folds shuts the door. And with that emphatic defensive drive, Nicholas Shepard will round the final 2 corners, and he'll go 4 in a row at Road Atlanta. Folds finishes second. 3rd place, Ishmael Ablal, and we have a battle for the 7th place spot. No, 6th place spot. as Mario Alfredo defends against Javier Mendez, who I think is out of gas. He is slow. He may have cut the course, actually, serving a slowdown penalty. Mendez will finish 9th after everything is all said and done. For 10th place, it's going to be Matt Mullins defending just about a car length in front of Frankie Sugamelli. And Mendez is still, at the moment, being scored 9th. We'll update you on anything, but what a race that was, and 4 in a row, 5th on the season for Nicholas Shepard. And if anything, let's go ahead and take a look at the official standings coming into this race. Should take in a whole lot of factors, but for Nicholas Shepard, he is currently leading the overall point standings with 1,540 points, so 1,540 points for Nicholas Shepard. So 1,000%, by the looks of this, could be a very emphatic championship for Nicholas Shepard. But what a race that was. Let's go ahead and bring up the finishing results on the screen for you right now. Nicholas Shepard, once again with a win on the season, goes a unthinkable, I would say, 4 in a row. Michael Folds finishes 2nd. Ishmael Blau finishes 3rd. The quote-unquote usual suspects, if you will, finishing at least somewhere in the top 5. Tom Sanders finishes 4th. Matthew Bartlett finishes in 5th. Mario Alfredo 6th. 7th place is John Miller. Ian Bertolucci finishes in 8th. 9th place, Javier Mendez. And Matt Mullins rounds out the top 10 position after a fantastic defensive drive against the driver that he was fighting, Frankie Sugamelli, and Gregorio Moreno Jr. They finish 11th and 12th, respectively. Matt Burgess finishes in 13th. 14th place, Kevin Kramer. 15th place is Charles Wolfe, not really fully able to recover after making contact with Tak Sato, but later on in the race, he spun, made some contact. Actually, I'm getting my drivers confused, I believe. No, it was Charles Wolfe, I believe. Pete Leaps finishes in 16th. 17th place, Daniel Diliberti, there we go. And then 18th place is Jack Landers. Tak Sato, Tony Wallace, and Gareth Brocklesby, a technical DNF, if you will. I would say, out of technicality, they did not finish, both of them having 19 laps scored due to a wreck that all 3 were involved in. And then Michael Coates finishes in last in the 22nd place position due to what I would assume to be hardware issues, but we haven't exactly figured out as of yet. But regardless, a fantastic race on the season so far. And we got, 3 more races left, believe it or not. We are so close, yet so far to potentially the dev blog, which I believe, maybe, probably, at least by established by previous patterns, could be releasing for next week at the dev blog, being for the next season and of iRacing, and also the things that they've been working on. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what happens for that week, but we still have to get week. The beautiful Virginia International Raceway is next. And it's going to be the, I guess at this point, the 3rd longest track that we've had on the schedule. Not entirely sure as of yet, but the grand course for next week. So not just the regular layout that most tracks use, not the short layout either. It is the, I believe, the longest course that VIR has to offer. And we got that heading into next week. So tune in next week for the 10th race of the season, and I'll mark the 3rd to last race of the season as well, and we'll see what these drivers have in store for a challenging course going into Virginia for next week. Week number 10. Tune in next week. I'll see you all next time.